Konnichiwa, Pakusei-tachi. I'm Puppy-Sensei, the Puppy Girl Japanese teacher VTuber of Irium US. I make Japanese language content to help you level up your abilities. Class, it's Dogtober! It's Dogtober! I'm so excited. I love this time of year. The weather is getting cooler, the leaves are turning, and the super spooky times are here. I'm so excited that I might explode. Amari ni mo koufun shite bakuhatsu shisou. That means I'm so excited I could explode. Today we're going to cover amari ni mo, which we see in this sentence. And that means to have too much of something, or to have so much of something that there could end up being some kind of consequence. It doesn't always have to be a negative consequence. It can just mean there's so much of something that you're overjoyed. So let's learn about amari ni mo. This is a grammar form that's going to express the idea that something is too excessive to the degree that something else will often follow. That could be a negative consequence, that could be a positive consequence, but the point is that due to the fact that there is too much of some verb or adjective, adverb, or noun, something else is likely to follow. Too scared to move. Too purple for my tastes. So bubbly that she's like sugar. We can use amari ni mo to create any of these types of sentences. Again, this is another quite easy grammar point to use, I think. We should note that we can also just use amari in many cases. That is, amari without ni mo. Technically, amari just means a surplus or an overabundance. As we've seen with a few other cases, there's also an associated kanji with amari that we do not usually use when we're using this as a grammatical point. Amari itself really comes from the following verb, amaru. Amaru is a verb that means something like to have too much of, to be in a surplus, or to have an excess. Excess? Like me? And so the through line between amaru and amari as a grammar point really makes sense. With amari, I think you're really often also going to see amari being used with negatives to say that you don't have enough of something, just like in a sentence like this. Amari ni ame ga arimasen. Note here that in this case we're using amari ni and not amari ni mo. Amari here is modifying ame, candy. It's acting like an adjective to quite simply express an overabundance of candy. That's actually what the ni is doing here, right? And then at the end of the sentence we have ga arimasen. And ga arimasen is a negative verb of existence, which tells us that we do not have something, right? Ga arimasen means it doesn't exist. Well, what don't we have? What doesn't exist in this sentence? An overabundance of candy, right? Or, in other words, we don't have enough candy. So, what's the difference between amari ni and amari ni mo? Well, it's very subtle, but that particle mo can occasionally place significant emphasis on the preceding concept, really making that the very strong focus of a sentence. With that in mind, amari ni mo takes on the slightly different nuance of it's too much of or it's too little of something, and therefore that's going to become a problem. So, if we change our sentence a little bit, we could have a sentence like this. Amari ni mo ame ga nakute Halloween made kirashimasu. There's so little candy that it's going to run out by Halloween. There's so little candy that we're not going to have enough left for Halloween. Something like that. I think the inclusion of the consequence sentence here really helps us to understand between the amari ni, where we're creating a sentence in which the noun ame is modified to express an overabundance or a lack of something. But with amari ni mo, we're instead placing so much emphasis on the overwhelming presence or absence of a thing that it isn't just a surplus, it's an issue. To hammer home this point a little bit, I'm going to show you two really, really interesting sentences. So we'll look at them and we'll think about the difference between amari ni and amari ni mo in these two sentences, okay? The first sentence at the top here is, この部屋にあまりに幽霊がない. That just means that there aren't many ghosts in the room, right? あまりに幽霊がない. Not many ghosts. And that could be a positive thing, or that could be a negative thing, depending on the context, right? Right? You may hear a sentence like that and say, oh good, the room isn't haunted. We're not going to get eaten by ravenous ghosts. Yay! Or you might hear this sentence, you might hear, この部屋にあまりに幽霊がない, and you think, oh no, we don't have enough ghosts. Our haunted house is incomplete, right? It's kind of neither positive nor negative, it's just saying not enough of. Meanwhile, our second sentence is, この部屋にあまりにもエアがない. あまりにもエアがない. There's not enough air in this room. And if there's not enough air in the room, then we might end up suffocating, right? So I'm not necessarily saying that with amari ni mo, it's always a bad thing. But I am saying with amari ni mo, the emphasis is on the lack of the thing, such that it often carries some kind of consequence or some kind of following action. Amari ni mo sort of frequently goes hand in hand with other adjectives as well, in a way that allows us to express sentences where something has far too much of some quality. So let's look at a sentence like that. 彼はあまりにも不気味ので、見たときに腹が痛くなる。彼はあまりにも不気味ので、見たときに腹が痛くなる. Centipedes are so icky that I get sick upon looking at them. Just looking at them makes me sick because they're that icky, right? What they have is an overabundance of bukimi, or kind of like a creepy feeling, right? So that's why we have amari ni mo bukimi. Am I saying that there's a link between the fact that Japanese mythology has various firmly conceptualized versions of hell, and also Japan has the existence of 12-inch long demon spawn in many-legged bug form? No, I'm not saying that at all. But I am saying that ancient art like this surely didn't help. Amari ni mo kowai, naichao. Let's take a look at what we're learning next week. We'll go to our Wheel of Grammar. Let's spin our Wheel of Grammar. Okay, here we go. Bayokata! Oh, cool. I was thinking it would have been good for us to study bayokata. There's a lot that you can do with the conditional ba form in Japanese, and bayokata is honestly one of many ways that we can say, if this, then this. So I'll be looking forward to tackling this grammar point next week. We'll have fun. Keep in mind, I've got a lot going on this month. Take a look. We're going to be learning about yokai, horror icons, we're going to play spooky games, and I have a few interesting surprises up my sleeve as well. So watch for that. Also, I really hope you like my hat. And I didn't mean to make a rhyme there. I'm sorry. I'm looking forward to seeing you soon. Let's spend spooky season together and have lots of fun. Mata raishu!
Thanks for watching. I'm glad you watched until the end. You can find my other content here. Also, it would make me really happy if you would check out jinxedgaming.com. If you're into zero-calorie gaming fuel and Oshi cups, you will love their products. Puppy-Sensei recommends the tangy strawberry flavor. It's so yummy. Remember to use code SENSEI at checkout for 10% off your order. Can't wait to see you next time. Mata ne!